Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Christina Anthony about the woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window. It's a mouthful, but you know what? It's great.
You got it all.
It's streaming now worldwide on Netflix. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I practiced that and I kind of messed it up. I wanted to impress you and do it like in one breath, but I couldn't. But I got it all.
I've heard many different versions of it, so you're good.
As a cast and crew, did you just refer to it as the woman in the house?
We didn't even say that much. We called it, well, yeah, nobody was saying all that, and nobody was typing all that. So sometimes when you're filming things, they give you a code word so that like somebody can't just look it up and show up at work.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Are you able to disclose the code word?
Yeah, I mean, now it's over. I'm sure they won't use it again. They just called it like by the initials of the show, so we called it TWIF. So you just say, I'm here for TWIF.
This is so much information right out the gate. Like, this is so great.
I mean, I guess if they have a season 2, you guys know, show up at the set and say, I'm here for TWIF. And you'll be able to, come on in. But yeah, all of our badges, like your security badge, it was like Christina Anthony, TWIF. And when you would go to go park your car, or if we went on location, I think we had to go to Pasadena for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. They were like, this way for TWIF.
Yeah, that I wasn't expecting you to say that. I thought you were going to say house or street window or something shorter. This is more of a statement rather than a question, and you can comment on it. This is like the definition of a fun binge. This is
you watch it all at once.
It's unbelievable for binge-worthy stuff. This is a binge and a half.
Yeah, I learned from, this is my first project at Netflix, big project. I've done some smaller stuff, but I learned that they have the way they work the algorithm is that they want to cut the episode off right where they think you'll just be glued to your seat and want to click to the next one. All this time, I thought I would just had a problem. And I would just be like, I need to watch one more. I just need to watch one more. But they program it that way on purpose to get you so that you will keep clicking. So if you made it to the end in one sitting, which I did, I was so surprised. And I mean, I was in it. I knew what was going to happen. I still was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
But 196 minutes straight.
It's interesting though, because I will straight up say this, no one spoiled anything for me, but I'm like, I was about to binge it, and then I see online on Twitter, sometimes it's so hard to escape, you know this, right? But I saw this thing just saying wow, how it ends, and oh my God, I didn't see that coming, right? And you're kind of like, oh man, I wanted to go in fresh, and you're now you kind of, you see it, you think you see it coming now, you know what I mean? Because you saw that on Twitter, but it's no, nope, you don't see it coming at all.
No, and I definitely didn't see it coming at all because they wouldn't let me see it before I got the job. So I had to say a blind yes.
Yep.
So when I read it, I was like, am I the killer? I don't know. Everybody who took the job, you weren't told who the killer was until you actually said yes and got the script.
Oh, there's someone in my household that did predict it though, which is interesting, which is impressive.
They have a dark side to them then.
Well, no, but I think we were just trying to, because so here's the thing, right? And it's not a spoiler or anything, but this show was very out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's a very out there prediction, is it not?
True, yeah. If you want to keep in line with the show, I think it's the darkest, saddest prediction, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. But someone did predict it. And I think maybe they said it maybe kind of not as serious, maybe it's maybe it's this person, you know what I mean? But so,
what happened.
Yeah, it happened. I find this interesting. I'm just curious because I saw, yourself in the cast, Mary and Shelby. You did some press and everything when it kind of first came out and dropped. Now you're doing press now that it's kind of marinated on Netflix, right? People are binging it. It's been out for a while. What's that mindset like for you now, kind of seeing the reception and seeing kind of the growth and the popularity of the show compared to kind of like when you started doing press like the week before it came out, so to speak?
Oh yeah, up until it came out, I mean, there was like, you can't say anything. It's they sent me a list of 25 things not to mention. And I
25?
Yes, these are things that will ruin the show. And I said, these are the 25 things that are on my mind now.
I'm trying to think of what 25 things you can't say. Like, that seems so specific.
There's a lot. There's a lot of things. But now, so leading up to it, and I even think my own friends and family, and even like my agents and my manager, everybody was just like, what happened? And I kept saying, I cannot say. Also, I don't know that I remember, because we also made this a year ago.
Yeah.
I got this job. So we made it a long time ago. And then like everything in the pandemic, so many things got pushed and pushed and pushed. So I honestly couldn't remember some things. And then there were other things they swore me to secrecy with. But so you couldn't say anything. And I was on pins and needles because I was scared people would not.
Because like every sentence, you're like, did I spoil it? What's going on, right?
Yeah. But then now that it's out, I'm just so happy. I mean, I'm still very entertained by the people that don't get it. I really I think on Twitter every day, my Twitter's in shambles right now, but on Twitter every day, there's someone who's like, ma'am, you were the worst detective. You didn't help this family. You didn't solve the crime. I'm like, okay.
See, I kind of disagree. I'm not saying this because you're on my show right now, because I'm not trying. I disagree with that a little bit. I think there's this ability that she cares and she is doing an effort. I disagree with the people on Twitter. I'm just saying.
Well, I think she cares, but I do think she was not very good at her job. She could be better.
But
she could have been better. I mean, in the end, it all worked out, right?
Is it interesting? So here's a question I kind of want to ask you then. When I kind of read about the show, it like, I don't even know if it's considered, because like some people on Twitter said, oh, it's like it's funny, or it's a satire or something like that. But like I went in like, because it's a long title and everything, and people were saying, oh, this is just gonna make fun of like horror movies and everything, and it's not that at all. Did you see any of that on Twitter at all, or talking to people? Like, there was a little bit of a swerve of like what people were saying, what it actually is, and then you watch it, you're like, they're all wrong. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, I think so many people hadn't seen it, and they wanted to just kind of be first.
Yeah.
And you really do need to watch all the way through to the
whole thing.
8th episode. Even like where the credits come into the opening credits is a joke every time. You're just intently watching, and then it pops up where it probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
The whole thing was a joke, but I think so many people, there were people who didn't get the joke. And then I think there's also people that take the genre really seriously, and I have a lot of respect for those people. They take those murder movies very seriously. Things on Lifetime, they love those types of films. They take those books really seriously.
Yep.
And so I think that the real giveaway to the whole thing was that it was entirely cast with comedians.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. We weren't, everybody isn't necessarily a
But
household
it didn't
name, so
feel like it when you watch it, though. It didn't feel that, like, it's weird. I'm still wrapping my head around. No, it didn't at all. No.
Yeah.
It felt real.
If you watched it with the sound down, it probably was very scary.
It felt like serious. Like, it felt like you were seriously like trying to figure out what was going on and who killed who, and like who pushed someone over the lighthouse. Like, you actually were like interested, and you forget that. Yeah. But like, what do you know when you sign on to this project? Like, what do you know in terms of what the genre is? Like, do you even know anything? Like, do you know much about it?
I'm trying to remember what they told me. They told me that it was a murder mystery, and it was in the vein of like Gone Girl and The Undoing, which I had seen. Mm-hmm. And so my first question was, what do you need me for? I'm a comedian. And then the next thing was that they were like,
that's awesome.
everybody's gonna, I was so confused. I was like, do you have the right Christina Anthony? Maybe you're looking like for dramatic actress Christina Anthony. And I told my family I really want to do like drama and get into like action. So I was like, oh, maybe this will be my chance. So I, was into it. And then I said, well, I like to read it. And they said, no, you can't read it. Everything's going to be a secret. You can read, a little section of your lines. And so I read a section where I was interrogating who I decided was the killer in the end. Mm-hmm. And I brought them into the station and questioned them. And I just was like, okay, was this good for you? I met with the director and the creators, and they were like, yeah, that was great. And I just said, was this funny? I don't know. This seems very sad. This woman is going to jail, and this, there's a lot of people getting arrested in this. And yeah, so I kind of didn't know. And then once I said yes, I got the script, and I realized now what I had read was the last episode, or second to last episode. And so when I got 1 through 7 or 1 through 6, my mind was blown. It was just so funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was glad I said yes. But then I realized, I was like, oh, it
teases with the audience member, because it is funny, but like you said, it is scary at times. Like the show's a tease. Let's be honest. It is.
Yeah. There's like references to, there's a part in the attic where like these birds come out of her. I screamed. I hadn't seen that. I saw it for the first time like everybody else, shortly before it came out. And yeah, there's like horror references in there. And then, there's a part where like blood comes pouring out of the ceiling.
It's not blood. It's something else.
Is it? Or is it? I think that's on the list of things you can't talk about.
The show is out, okay? Put spoiler alert. I'm going to spoil it.
It's time to watch it.
Sorry.
It's time to watch it.
It's paint. Sorry, no. Spoiler alerts.
Yeah. Get yourself 3 bottles. You need 3 bottles of wine, and get yourself maybe a couple of little activities to do, and go ahead and watch it. You can do it in one sitting.
There's a lot of memes and GIFs from the show. Like a lot. Yeah. Especially with the glass of wine that's filled to the top. It's great.
That was one thing when I walked into the set. There's just so many jokes on the set, we were watching. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of the first things I shot, there was a big punch bowl of wine corks. And I remember when I came in to shoot, I hadn't seen anything before. And I'm pretty sure they took that first shot and used it in the show. Because when I walked in and they said action, they're like, just look around. And I looked around and I was ready to ask her a question. And all I could do was say, oh my goodness, what was that? There's so many wine corks here, ma'am. But just like small, silly things like that. The writers, they're just so genius.
There's one scene, again, it's not a spoiler. It doesn't have anything to do with like the plot or anything, but just in case for the people, spoiler, because it happens in the show. There's like a scene where you go to her house and you're with another cop, and he wants. Boy. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's just random, and it made me laugh. Where he's like, "Can I have a slice of the casserole?"
And I felt that way during shooting that. I really felt like, is this what we're supposed to be doing? While we were shooting, when we read it, I was like, whatever, there's a little bit where he's going to ask for something to eat. And then I remember shooting it and thinking, why the casserole is really taking center stage in this show. Is this another member of the ensemble?
Can I have a slice of the casserole?
And I remember looking at the actor saying like, sir?
And there's a pause. There's a pause too from Kristen Bell too. Her character, there's like a pause, and it's like, sure. Yeah, I know.
You're being killed in this neighborhood, and you want a piece of what looks like the blandest casserole I have ever seen.
Is it tuna noodle? Do we know? Who knows what it is?
I believe it's chicken cheese noodle.
Casserole.
It looks terrible.
Resurfaces many times in the show.
It looks awful.
But I wanted to thank you so much for coming on Popternative and chatting a little bit. This was great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's my first time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the show with the title that I'm going to try to do in one breath, The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window, is available now on Netflix so they can watch it. And I'm telling you, it is a fun binge. There's so much happening in it. You gotta, like you said, get a glass of wine, focus, you gotta focus, pay attention. And you do great. You, even though you say you're a lousy detective, you did a great job of the show playing the lousy detective. I can say that, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
I'm on Instagram at Teeny Anthony, TeenyAnthony.
Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Christina Anthony and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.